It finally came out, the new Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie for Disney Plus. I literally got Disney Plus just to watch this film, and then I'm gonna cancel it right after. And going into it, I didn't really have that much of a feeling about it. I was just hoping it would be okay. I mean, I knew it'd be better than The Long Haul, that's just easy. I mean, literally, Greg could have stared at the camera for 5 seconds, say poop, and that would have been better. So it really can't be that hard to beat that film, but I was hoping for something good, and, well, let's get into what I thought about it. So, the whole opening of this movie is great. All the 2D animation stuff looks incredible, and I honestly wish one day they'll make a movie just like that. I like the 2D animation style. It looks exactly like the books, and it just looks accurate to the books. It's great animation, so I like the opening. But of course, that's not what this movie is. It's all CGI animation. So you get a big jump scare into that. Now, it's a little weird at first, but eventually throughout the film, you do get used to it, except when you see Fragley. Every time he came on the screen, I jumped out of my seat in fear. Make sure you warn your kids about him if you're watching this with your kids. So after all that opening stuff with Greg throwing the football to Rowley, we meet the other characters. And something that I noticed is that the voice acting is just so off, especially with the mom. It sounded like she recorded her lines on an Android.
We were worried sick about you two. Where were you boys?
Okay, maybe it's not that bad, but still, something is not quite right. It sounds like they don't even want to do the movie. Also, Roderick has AirPods? But also, why does he sound like he's 8 years old?
Okay, listen close.
I think they should have got somebody else with a little bit deeper of a voice to voice Roderick, but it's not like it really matters because he's in the film for like literally 5 minutes. So once you hear Roderick, he's out by the time you get used to it. Something I did enjoy, however, is they made the dad go back to being kind of weird. I hated how in The Long Haul they made the dad just so generic, but in this movie they have him back to being his weird self, which is good. That's how he should be. Also, this line was kind of funny.
Please don't mention the cheese thing to Rowley. It'll scare him half to death.
Who's Rowley?
I don't know how to say it really, it just felt like the classic Roderick, and not the Long Haul Roderick forcing jokes out harder than moms do giving birth. But something I didn't enjoy is I don't like how Roderick is the one that suggests to Greg that he should change Rowley. I think you should leave that to Greg doing that. By doing that, you're making Greg seem more likable, and that's not how his character should be. Greg is supposed to be the one that's like rude to Rowley, but not really knowing he is, but we'll see how it plays out.
Cut him loose now, or you both drown.
They arrive at middle school, and of course, they see all the weird people in the halls. A lot of what happens here is just basically the same as the book in the first movie. Nothing really too new. Like, they'll throw a change here and there, but nothing major. So they're at lunch, and Rowley says, "Can you play after school?" The whole school starts laughing, and Greg's embarrassed. They made that scene so over the top that I actually found it kind of funny. And then in this scene, I like how they're walking home, but it's supposed to be like months later. They say that in the voiceover, but they're still wearing the same clothes. Kind of reminds me of myself. Now we get to the trick-or-treating scene, and they switched it up a little bit. Instead of just Rowley and Greg going out, they have to bring Manny along this time. And Manny and Rowley is getting all the candy while Greg is getting nothing. So of course, in classic Greg style, he uses this to his advantage and has Manny go up to the doors to get all of Manny's candy. This difference I do like. It's very subtle, but it made it different enough to where it was entertaining. So then the teenagers show up and they chase him around. I thought this guy was this guy in the first movie, but actually he's not. He's still in this one. But they're chasing him down and they end up in a ditch in the road, which kind of doesn't make sense because it's supposed to be an actual road through the woods. So why is there just a big ditch here? I think I'm looking too deep into this. They get stuck and the teenagers are mad and they say they're gonna pay for it. And then we have this scene where we find out that Rowley actually wants to sign up for clubs and Greg doesn't, which is basically the complete opposite from the original movie. So obviously this is a big example of changes from the original book and film to this version. Another example would be this scene where Greg already knows that the cast is going to make Rowley popular, and Greg wants to use that to his advantage to get popular as well. In the original movie, he didn't know everybody was going to come to Rowley because of his cast. In this, he already does apparently. And then they have this whole thing where the mom finds out that Rowley broke his arm because of the game that they were playing. She gets mad and is upset at Greg. All of this stuff is new. But what I think is the most major change in this movie that kind of ruins what Wimpy Kid is, Greg is actually the one that thinks of Zooey Mama and Rowley steals it. I don't think that really fits the Rowley character. I feel like he wouldn't steal Greg's work without giving him credit. In the original movie, Rowley thinks of Zooey Mama, Greg doesn't like it, so he goes home and sends it in himself, Rowley. But in this, Greg thinks of Zooey Mama and Rowley steals it, so he ends up getting into the newspaper, which I don't like that change that much. I think they should have just left it alone. It's interesting though how they're trying to make the roles reversed, because in this one it seems Rowley is more mean to Greg than Greg is to Rowley. They're trying to make you feel more for Greg and make him more likable, which kind of takes away from who Greg is. It's like Rowley has good intentions, but what is Greg doing that's that bad? And the biggest scene they take out is in the original when Greg tells Rowley that he's the one that terrorized those kids or whatever.
I'm the one who terrorized those kids.
And then Rowley doesn't want to be Greg's friend anymore. There's nothing like that in this because it's so short that they have to cram everything in. You have no time to flesh all this out. So when they don't become friends, it feels like nothing. It's like, why aren't they friends now? It's not developed enough, and that's a big problem with this film. They rushed it and it's too short. It shouldn't have been just an hour. So Rowley makes a new friend with Shirag. Yep, he actually returns in this movie. He's playing a little different of a role in this one, but he's still in it. Greg goes to Fregley's and the same thing happens. Fregley's all weird and Greg wants to escape. Now this next scene really shows what they were trying to do with Greg. They have all this sad music while Greg's walking through the hallways and stuff, so I guess you're supposed to feel for him. And you almost do in this movie because he doesn't do anything that bad. Roderick suggested that he should do this to Rowley and stuff like that. This isn't really who Greg is, in my opinion. Like in this version, it feels like he's just trying his best, but everything's just failing. Whereas in the original, he's like purposely planning this stuff out and basically just trying to change who Rowley is completely. I'm kind of like in the middle. Like I know what they're doing, but I don't like it that much. I want Greg to stay who he is. When Greg is like that, it makes the ending so much better when they come back as friends. You don't feel anything when they're not friends anymore. And when they come back, it's like, well, you should have never not been friends in the first place. But we still have the ending. The ending is basically the same. Rowley comes up to Greg. They almost fight. The teenagers come. They make him eat the cheese. Greg says that he's the one that ate the cheese. The end. So the ending's the same, but all the stuff in the middle that actually made it good is gone. There's not enough development in these characters, and they cut so many major plot points out, it just takes away from the movie. Like, this is a very short movie. It's not even an hour, it's 58 minutes, and a bunch of the ending is just credits. I mean, I'm not complaining that it's that short, but I'm just saying. But if I had to be honest in my real opinion, I found this film very pointless. There was nothing crazy different that made it worth watching, and if you've already seen the original book and movie, you're good. You don't need to watch this. They just rushed so many scenes to make it an hour long, and it takes away from what Wimpy Kid is. Also, they try to make Greg likable, which I will admit is an interesting change, but I liked how Greg was because his character development throughout the film is so much stronger when he goes from absolutely just horrible person to a nice person in the end of the movie. And the last thing is the voice actors sound like they don't even want to be there, especially the mom. I mean, did she record these like in her bed? This movie feels more like a quick summary rather than an actual film on its own. So overall, it's just meh. It really didn't need to happen, but at least it's better than this trash. Thanks for watching, and I'm out. Zooey poopy.